Hello everyone. In previous lecture we have discussed about electrical analogy of heat transfer, and we have also discussed in that electrical analogy is very helpful to simplify the problems associated with heat transfer. This becomes particularly important when heat transfer involves combination of different mechanisms, such as there might be combined conduction with convection. So in that situation, it becomes very difficult to write down the equations for the entire system, and at this point, electrical analogy helps us to reduce the system of equations in a way that it can be solved in a faster way. So let us see what exactly is done when we are applying electrical analogy to a combined case of heat transfer. For this, we are going to see the first case, which is again a plane wall. We are always starting from the simplest case, so that we can afterwards increase the complexity with basic understanding. So this is a plane wall. Let us say it is having conductivity K. The thickness of the plane wall is L. This is very similar to our previous derivation of Fourier's law. Okay, now we have to go for combined conduction and convection. Firstly, we will see that there will be a conduction. So let us say this is the higher temperature T1 and this is the lower temperature T2. Now, let us say that this wall is subjected to convection also on both sides. So, I am assuming one fluid which is having temperature T infinity 1. Then there is second fluid on this side which is having temperature T infinity 2. So if I wish to connect all these dots, then they will look something like this. I will also tell you why it is necessary. So now this is an approximate temperature profile for this combined convection and conduction problem. Okay, now how to apply electrical analogy in this? We also need to understand that because there is fluid here, fluid may have some motion. This fluid can have some motion, let us assume it like this. So because of motion of the fluid, according to our basic understanding, convection will be there, and that's why there will be heat transfer coefficient. On one side, let us say it is H1, on other side it is H2. Okay, so on the basis of this physical arrangement, we can draw one electrical network for this. And to construct that electrical network, we will need the node points, we will need the junction points, which will indicate the potential for heat transfer. So let us first understand this physically. Remember, in this zone, the heat transfer is taking place because of temperature difference between surface and fluid temperature. In this zone, conduction is taking place because of temperature difference between one surface of the wall and second surface of the wall. In the third zone, heat transfer is taking place because of temperature difference between surface and fluid temperature on the inside. This is a very common scenario, let us say, in case of refrigerators. Outside of the refrigerator is exposed to the ambient environment, which is somewhat higher than the inside temperature. It is very natural because we are storing our food articles, milk, vegetables, fruits inside the fridge. That's why the temperature of air inside the refrigerator is less, while temperature of the outer atmosphere is comparatively large. So, and this can be considered as the door of the refrigerator, where inside of the door is at a lower temperature and outside of the door is at a somewhat higher temperature. So, with this basic understanding, we can proceed for the equations of heat transfer. We have understood the physics, we have to convert it into mathematics. Okay, one more thing. Now, we are assuming that the heat is getting transferred from this end towards this end. And as in case of Fourier's law, as in case of plane wall, we are considering that this is the area of the wall. This can be simply the side area of the refrigerator, and this is the thickness of door of refrigerator or side walls of refrigerator. Okay. Also, we are considering steady state heat transfer. When we say steady, it means that heat transfer does not change with time. Sorry, heat transfer does not change with time t. It means that, let us say, at the beginning in the morning the temperature was this much, In the afternoon also you will see the same values of temperature. Notice one thing, we are establishing our coordinate system at this point. We are saying that this is our coordinate system. Always in the derivations we do that. So notice when the location x is continuously changing, for example at this thickness, at this thickness, at this thickness, when the location is changing, the temperature is continuously changing. That is fine. But with time, the temperature, if it does not change, then it can be considered as steady state heat transfer. And we are going to analyze steady state heat transfer only. Okay, so let us write down the equations for heat transfer. It is steady state heat transfer. It means that amount of heat at this point will be equal to amount of heat at this point will be equal to amount of heat transfer at this point. So whatever is the heat coming in, it is going into the next section of this diagram. So that's why we can write this Q is equal to. Notice the physics has to be translated into mathematics. So this is convection, this is conduction, and this is again convection. Convection is given by Newton's law of cooling. Conduction is given by Fourier's law of conduction. So this Q is equal to, firstly for first section, from left to right systematically we will write. So this is because of convection. So I will write HA into temperature difference between fluid and surface. Remember, I have told you that there should be a temperature difference, and which temperature you write first doesn't matter. We are interested in delta T. So in the case of law, when we studied it, the Ts was higher, T infinity was lower. In this case, T infinity is higher, Ts or surface temperature is lower. So we have to write it that way. Also, like I said, heat transfer coefficient is a complicated property. It depends on many parameters. So this value of H1 will be different than this value of heat transfer coefficient H2, because conditions here are different, conditions here will be different. So that's why this H is H1 into A into T infinity 1 minus T1. A is the area or cross-sectional area for heat transfer, and it is plane wall, and we have already studied that for a plane wall, cross-sectional area A remains constant. That's why I have written A here only. And this is also equal to, this is convection, now this is conduction. Conduction is given by Ka into T1 minus T2 upon L by Fourier's law of conduction and its analytical answer. So now it is also equal to, in all three sections heat transfer is equal. We have written convection, conduction. Now we are again going to write this convection. Because it is convection, it will be given by Newton's law of cooling, HA delta T. Delta T in this case higher temperature minus lower temperature. That's why T2 minus T infinity 2. So this will be T2 minus T infinity 2. And this will be heat transfer coefficient on the inside. That's why it will be H2A. Notice that in the first case it was H1A. In the second case it is H2A. A is constant in every case. And this is the same amount of heat transfer at every point. Only its physics is different. This is because of convection, this is conduction, and again this is convection. So now let us see what we can do with this. On the basis of this, we can rearrange the equation. So we can say that this is also equal to T infinity 1 minus T1 upon 1 upon H1A. I have just taken out this numerator and put it down in the denominator. There is no problem with mathematics. For the second equation, I can write this is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L upon Ka. I have taken this numerator and put it down in the denominator of denominator. And then finally, for this equation, we can write it is equal to T2 minus T infinity 2 divided by 1 upon H2A. Alright, now what we observe over here, according to our electrical analogy philosophy, this is the potential for heat transfer, this is the potential for heat transfer, while the quantity in the denominator opposes the rate of heat transfer. So it is nothing but the thermal resistance. This is thermal resistance of convection type, thermal resistance of conduction type, thermal resistance of again convection type. So we will mark them as well. So this is equal to this T infinity 1 minus T1 divided by convection resistance. So we will indicate it by symbol RC. So this is RC1. This is conduction resistance for a plain wall. So we will indicate this like RW. If we come across a cylinder, we will indicate by R cylinder. If it is a sphere, we will indicate by R SPH, sphere. And this final will be T2 minus T infinity 2 divided by, because it is again a convection type, that's why this will be RC, but second convection resistance. I hope it is clear up to this point. Now we will move on. What I will do now, I will simply take out this 1 upon HA and multiply it with Q, so that what remains with me is only the temperature difference. And I will do this for all the cases. So I can say Q into 1 upon H1A, it is equal to T infinity 1 minus T1. Now same exercise we can do for the second equation also. So that gives us Q multiplied by L upon Ka. I will put a bracket so that you can identify exactly this is the resistance and this is equal to T1 minus T2. And the third parameter, third equation, Q multiplied by 1 upon H2A, it is equal to T2 minus T infinity 2. Okay, now we have our equations. So let us simply add all of them. So let us see what do we get out of it. Okay, now we are going to add all these equations, equation 1, 2 and 3. When we add, we can simply figure out that this is minus T1 and this is plus T1, so they will cancel each other. This is minus T2 and this is plus T2, so they will cancel each other. What remains with you is only the term T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2, because it has been added, so this will be minus T infinity 2 only. And on the left hand side, you see the combination of these terms. So I will simply write it like this. So Q multiplied by, in the bracket, because Q coefficient is same for all these three equations, I have taken it outside the bracket, and all the remaining its coefficients, they will be taken inside the bracket. So this will be 1 upon H1A plus L by Ka plus 1 upon H2A. On the right hand side, we have T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2. Now I will finalize this equation. I am interested only in the rate of heat transfer for such arrangement. So I can write Q is equal to T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 divided by, this entire bracket goes on that side, 1 upon H1A plus L upon Ka plus 1 upon H2A. If we observe properly, these quantities are nothing but individual thermal resistances. This one is convection resistance on left side, this is conduction resistance, and this is convection resistance on the right side. So simplifying, what we can write? Simplifying, we can write this Q is equal to T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 divided by 1 upon H1A. This is nothing but convection resistance first, and this is conduction resistance for wall, that's why R wall, and this is convection resistance, that's why second convection resistance. This will be total Q. Okay, let us log this formula right now. I will tell you again one simple method to remember this. Now we have understood this entire thermal resistance structure, so we will draw one thermal resistance network which will help you to correlate with this formula and as well as identify a simple method for this. So as we observe, the thermal resistance network will look like this. It will start from first temperature. There will be some thermal resistance. up to second node. Second node will be for T1. The next value of temperature that we face is that of T2. So there is some thermal resistance and then there is T2. Then in the next is in the line next is T infinity 2. So there will be some thermal resistance and then there will be T infinity 2. Okay, this will be T infinity 1 from where the circuit starts, leftmost. This will correspond to T1, this is T2, and finally this is T infinity 2. If we observe, this thermal resistance is because of convection, so this will be your RC1. This thermal resistance is because of conduction, that's why this will be R wall. And this resistance is because of again convection, so this will be RC2. I hope this is clear, and we can also write down their formula. And because of all this arrangement, just like electric current flows through the circuit, heat flows through this circuit and magnitude of heat will be same at every location because it is a steady state heat transfer. Now now I said that we can correlate these two. We observe that if I want heat transfer between these two extreme points, then I need to write down the potential difference T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 upon thermal resistances which come in its path. This is just like a road. For example, this is Mumbai and this is Pune. I have to go from Mumbai to Pune. So whenever there will be a toll plaza in the path, I will have to pay the toll. So just like that, when I am dealing with these temperatures, let us say only T infinity 1 and T infinity 2 are given, then in this path, I need to consider all the resistances. In the same way, and that's the beauty of electrical analogy. You simply draw the schematic network, you simply draw the electric resistance network, and then immediately you can start solving the problem. You don't need to every time derive everything. So now, let us say I want to determine only the heat transfer for this particular zone, T infinity 1 and T1. I can directly write down the equation as, because heat transfer rate will remain same, Q only, steady state heat transfer, and this is my chosen junction. So this will be T infinity 1 minus T1 upon whatever comes in path. अभी इसके पाथ में सिर्फ RC1 आ रहा है, बाकी इसके पाथ में नहीं आ रहे हैं. So because of that, only RC1 will be there. Same way, if I am interested between T infinity 1 and T2, then इसके रास्ते में जितने टोल प्लाजा आएंगे, I will have to pay the toll. उतने टोल प्लाजा मुझे डील करने पड़ेंगे, and actually magnitude will remain same, so that will give you T infinity 1 minus T2 upon, first is convection resistance, second one is wall conduction resistance, so this will be RC1 plus R wall. It is just like addition procedure, and you can simply obtain the heat transfer rate. Suppose I am not interested in T infinity 1, I am interested in this passage T1 to T2. I can simply choose the passage, I can simply choose the nodes, and whatever comes in between those nodes, so that gives me, it is equal to T1 minus T2 simply upon the resistance corresponding to that is conduction resistance, so that gives me R wall. This will be heat transfer rate Q. So see, with the help of such a simple diagram, we have avoided so much of complexity, and we can simply write down these equations only by observing at this diagram. That's the beauty of this electrical analogy when it is applied to combined situation. In the next lecture, we will see more applications of this electrical analogy. Thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you.